Ladies and gentlemen, you are now listening to the Talking Nonsense About Impact Wrestling podcast. Cross the line in 3, 2, 1.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 73 of the Talking Nonsense About Impact Wrestling podcast. My name is Geoff, and alongside me, as always, is the Tony Khan to my big Swole. It's Max, everybody. What's going on, Max?
Oh, that's messed up. That's
It's a good way to start. So obviously, we have a lot to talk about today on the show, tonight on the show, or whenever you're watching this. In the fact that you are, thank you. I hope you had a great holiday season, or if it's continuing, or whatever you celebrate, enjoy that. But I'm glad that you guys came here and watched us at some point, listened to us at some point. As we always say, we love doing this, one friend at a time, one fan at a time. And we're glad to do this every Saturday, currently at live 8 p.m. But a lot to talk about, Max. We don't have any power rankings, obviously, because we had the end of the year awards. Wrestling Jeebus back in the day, buddy. Good to see you, buddy.
New Year. I almost said Happy Anniversary. Happy New Year, Wrestling Jeebus.
That's funny. And then if you can't see on my shirt, I'm wearing it today. Much love to Betty White. Everyone loves Betty White. So we have a lot to talk about. I will not waste any more time. I want to get to it, but let's get to the numbers first. Guys, Twitter, we're cracking 3,100, which is awesome. Keep it going. And we, since last time, had 2 more subscriptions on the YouTube. If you're watching on the YouTube and are not a subscriber, hit that button. It takes you no time whatsoever. We don't annoy you with all those bells and whistles, but we have 249. Our goal was 300 by Bound for Glory. That obviously did not happen.
We never said which Bound for Glory.
Fair enough.
Bound for Glory 2022.
Fair enough. Speaking of that, great transition. We will actually be looking into the future yet again, the year 2022. What that means, we'll have to wait and see, but it will be an enjoyable segment at the end here. Hello, everyone in the chat there. And thank you to all the podcast listeners as well. I'm not done reading numbers. I apologize. Up on Twitch to 71. As I said, we always gain 1 an episode. So by episode 100, we'll probably be at 98. So we're pretty close. And then you guys on podcast are still listening and liking and subscribing, and we really appreciate that. All right. So for tonight's show, we have a few hot topics, and then of course the 5 will be the end of the year segment, or beginning of the year segment. First will be free agency. A few things to touch on with that. Tony Storm, Mercedes Martinez, Jonah's contract being revealed. 2, speaking of reveals, we have Su Young's reveal, and what that means not only for her, but also Kimber and Brandy. Impact Catch-Up will go over the full rundown of all of the winners for 2021 of Impact, as well as our nonsensies. If you're watching on YouTube, you could see right there above on the Tron, it has all of our little pretty...
Or if you're currently watching on Twitch, you can look up.
Correct. There you go, Max. Always coming in clutch. And then 4 is the one we already alluded to. Something interesting because obviously Big Swole is a free agent as well. But there's something more that happened, and it's worth talking about. Not for the negative aspect of it, but how it affects them, and if it does at all, or what how we see that, or the double standard of it. All right. So Max. Let's get right into free agency because I really want to get to number 4. And I know you do as well.
I do.
Let's start with free agency. So Tony Storm, along with Jeff Hardy, were individual releases. I won't get into the details of because 1, we don't know. 2, we don't know. A little bit of what they leak out there, but that's all. So you have Tony and Jeff who are free agents, assumed to go to AEW. And that's an interesting little tidbit I read about Tony may be urging people to get out of their contract. You also have Jonah's reveal to his contract with Impact. He will be here at least till Rebellion, so we have 4 months to make up his mind. And then Mercedes Martinez has signed and is all elite, even though she will be on this week's episode of Impact Wrestling. So let's start with that.
The Forbidden Door. Open once again. Due to taped episodes.
So why don't you start it off with that number 1 free agency, and then we'll move on from there.
Yeah, I mean, personally, I think Tony Storm is probably the biggest one. I mean, Jeff Hardy name-wise, but I feel like he's going to AEW because Matt's there. It just makes the most sense there. But Tony Storm, she's a great wrestler. I think she would be a big draw to for Impact to get to add to their Knockouts division. It's already a strong division, but I do think it is missing some like top end star power, and I think she could be one of those people. She's a great wrestler. She's got a good look. So I think that to me would be one of the people that I would be pretty high on Impact going
Yeah,
after. Jonah, I like the fact that he's here for 4 months.
really.
I think it gives him a good amount of time to one for Impact to develop storylines for him and not it just be, oh, he's gone a month from
Right.
now. So it really is going to allow, it really makes his matches kind of makes you wonder, is he going to win? Is he going to lose? Like, where are these stories going to go? Because you have some time to work some
Mhm.
things. So I really like that. And I do think it gives Impact a chance to show him, what we've got, maybe potential plans we have for him and see if he likes it here. But even if he signs someplace else, especially if he signs in New Japan, and if he ends up being primarily in New Japan Strong in the US, I think that there's if he enjoys his time in Impact over this time, there's still a possibility for him to come back and work here. So it's kind of what I feel about the free agents. Mercedes Martinez, I mean, it is what it is. Good luck to her in AEW. I would have liked to have her in Impact. I think she probably would have made a bigger impact in Impact than she will in AEW. But you've got to make the best decisions for you.
Yeah. Nothing there that I wouldn't agree with for the most part. So Jonah, yeah, I know we had that debate of would that really matter if he loses or do we already know if he's going to win or lose
Yeah.
based on what we know? I think this opens the door for at least to be what you were more speaking of, which is maybe not, he has to chase Jonah, but if he gets beaten by Jonah, there's 3 months still to capitalize on that and fill out a whole storyline. I'm sure it's an arc compared to a one-off week kind of thing.
Yeah.
Impact's been very, very good about continuity and protecting its own and stuff. So um, I'll mention that. So I'm happy with Jonah. Mercedes Martinez, even though she's on our roster page, she's already on their roster page, which and the little thing already went out. I'm sure making a point that she's with them. Look, everyone from Impact's side, as a long fans at least, I would say, knew she wasn't going to stick around, and that's not a showing of the fact that we didn't want her to stick around. Of course we did. She is that veteran that is the top of the food chain that you just mentioned. That could be a top star for us. She's on the other side of 40, I believe, which today's day and age that really doesn't matter. But could we have benefited from having another veteran? Sure, because we are bringing in a lot of women's talent, but a lot of young. It doesn't mean they're not veterans in their own right. It's just a matter of putting it all together. So
Yeah.
Tony Storm, I agree with you, but I just don't. I don't think you leave that unless you know what's next. And could Impact be that what's next? It's possible. Um, you know, she seems like an AEW lock as far as to help their diversity. um, but it's been a while since we had. I think we've only had one successful British female wrestler in our company, um, which isn't. I don't like that.
Magnus?
What's that?
Talking about
no, no. Winter, Katarina.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
And I guess Chelsea, if you want to mention that valet. Uh, so it would be nice to have her have her in here. I just think she fits too well there. And honestly, we're bringing in Masha. We're bringing all these people. Uh, Even though she's diverse in a national sense,
She's actually
is she
Australian,
Australian? Am I that dumb?
apparently, and we have the lock on the Australian wrestling
That is
community.
fair. Okay, see, and it's not a thing of accents. Self-admittedly, I've seen 2 matches. I know her Twitter. I guess I didn't know that she was. So I apologize there, but
I mean, just think about it this way: we got Team Canada, we've got Team Australia. Maybe we can get a Team Mexico going. I
Well,
mean, we're just kind
well,
of.
for that purpose, then I'm even more so Juice Robinson or Tony are an item. Yeah, that's true. But I think he's headed. Well, maybe not. Um,
I don't think he's going to WWE
yeah, we'll
anymore.
see. You know, but getting back to that, now I, especially knowing she's Australian, um, I I don't think she adds, but only so much. And I don't want it to take away from all the people that we are bringing in. Doesn't mean I wouldn't be excited if we got her. Of course I would be.
Yeah.
But I won't be, butthurt if we don't. Um, but I think there's roster spots that you could slide in here, especially if the knockouts get more time and another maybe an avenue um, to showcase themselves. You are going to need depth, but I think that depth should be filled by a few other people that we'll be talking about at number 4, maybe, and so on. So some real diversity. As far as Jeff Hardy goes, I said throw the bag at him before. I don't think there's, and obviously I have no personal knowledge of it. Is he or is where is he at in his head or in his life? Um, but I just feel like, man, it makes more sense for him to end it with Matt. But who says they're going to end it anytime soon? Uh, so
That's
so with a
possible.
little run, if he's reliable, and he's actually interested and headstrong to come to Impact, cool, man. It would be nice to have a match or two, kind of like Christian did for a bit. But I don't, long term, I'm siding with you more there. So. All right, so yeah, I see a lot of Juice Robinson Tony thing. As I always say in the show, man, I'm not a big fan of banking on the fact that people are in relationships, because people easily are out of them. And also, I worked with my wife for 7 years or whatever.
It was the greatest 7 years of your
Um,
life.
you know,
Every
well,
day.
not for it benefited after we got out of the same industry, but
Let's be real, and I bring it up too sometimes for certain people. Like it's one of those things you have to. I think it's one of those things you have to think about. Like, oh,
oh,
this person's dating them,
for sure,
but at the same time, Impact isn't WWE where you're touring 300 days out of the year.
right?
You film 4 episodes in a week or in 2 days, and then you're gone for a
Yeah,
month. Like, so you guys can hang out. So if one's in AEW and one's in Impact, they can still hang out when they're not.
yeah.
So it's not like WWE where if you guys aren't working
I'll,
together, you may never see each other.
especially on the same brand. So, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, who was it? It was Trinity and or who is that? Who it is? Trinity. Is it five? Who is
In real
the?
life, you're talking about was it
Yeah,
Naomi? Yeah.
but yeah, Naomi. That's who it was. Yeah, but her and whichever one of the um brothers she's dating, but like they had talked about they were on different shows and like hadn't seen had seen each other like once in three
Right.
months.
Family.
Like that's insane.
Family. The company for family. All right. I do want to mention also that today is the first of the year. STP's contract officially ran up with ROH. So, Shane Taylor, Keith Lee's on the thing there. Obviously STP group is pretty damn cool to begin with in ROH. I have a feeling we're going to see a ROH, not group necessarily, but I think we're going to see Mike
Mini
and
invasion.
Maria back. ROH talent are free agents yet. Not all of them. Some are not. Some have some dates still, if I'm not mistaken. I believe they're the ones that they kept the belt on. But who knows? Who knows? Maybe you're right. Okay. All right. Let's get to number 2. This one should be fun. I saw my phone blow up. DMs and all that. Haven't been on the Twitter too much. Obviously, Io, who we just mentioned, has been killing it on Twitter for us. But Sue Young's pregnant. It was revealed at the end of the Impact episode. The reveal was that she absorbed the energy. I guess she was disappointed in her undead bridesmaids and absorbed them, and now she has a baby. Obviously, they're including this in storyline. Max, I'll kick it to you because, one, I don't like to pat myself on the back. I'm not a big Barry Horowitz. You know how I am.
It's fine to
No,
do that. I've been patting myself on the back that I call the Good Brothers coming to Impact ever since they got
and
here.
that's on your character. My character is not to pat myself on the back.
My character is flawless.
Flawed. Um, what that
Flawless.
flawless, flawless victory. All right. Yeah. So I'm gonna kick it to you and let you say what you say. But the first thing I want to mention, because there was one, and I won't mention whatever that details, but kind of disturbed me there. I have no inside knowledge of Impact Wrestling. Maybe a little bit. We know, a person in passing or whatever, but not enough to where I could call or text or DM someone and them just say, "Oh yeah, Sue's pregnant." No clue. Okay. I went to Slammiversary. We made eye contact when she when she came out, and I just knew. Maybe because my wife just had a kid or what, but I just got that vibe.
She gave off that
She gave
pregnant
off that
vibe.
pregnant vibe to me, man. And I've been saying it since day one, respectfully.
Riches looked happier. It's just kind of a
No, there's none of that. But I will say this: congratulations to them. We've been saying it on this show to 300 people that listen and watch. Haven't been running around with it. Obviously, things go sideways sometimes. But I'm glad it's healthy. They're happy, and in kayfabe that it. Can't wait to find out who the dad is.
So I will say, I said it on Twitter, much like a lot of sports media, we really just throw out a bunch of hot
Mm,
takes and hope some like we do. Like I
they're
mean,
my personal
and
beliefs. They're not.
no, I know, no, I know. I'm not saying we're just making shit up, but we throw out things that we think may happen. We say things that we've noticed. Like I noticed this, I've noticed that, and then sometimes we're right, sometimes we're wrong. If we're right, we're always like, hey, look, we were right about this. So it's not we have any inside sources. It's just our opinions and what we think is makes sense and things like you
Right.
noticed. In regard to this, I think for who's the father going to be, I'm interested to see if it leads to a reveal of some type of
Mm-hmm.
someone coming in. I think that would be interesting. For the other two undead brides, I'm a little torn. I like that
Yeah.
gimmick, but I also think they would be great together as a tag team, just as
Right.
themselves, especially Kimber. Um, I think Kimber's
Oh
amazing.
yeah.
I do think this has helped Brandy Loren a bit in terms of just her character because she's done really well. I don't really know what her character was. Like she doesn't really have a character, but like with obviously with Kimber, she kind of had everything with the whole student. So we saw her in that like
Yeah.
storyline where she was that. So I feel like I like them as the Undead Brides, but I also think it would be a good opportunity for them to kind of split away and just be a tag team themselves. I really do hope that no matter which step they take, they focus on them more as a tag team because we do need tag teams and they are a legitimate tag team. So it is whether they stay the Undead Brides or they go off and become their own thing is a chance for them to be the focus of
Fair.
this and maybe kind of be built up. So
Yeah, that's fair. I really didn't think like that. For me, I was more nervous for Kimber and Brandy, because I don't see where this goes. I don't think they had enough fluidity yet, or a long enough trial to be a tag team enough to where you could take off the gimmick and hey, it's Kimber and Brandy, and we're just supposed to pop for them. I don't know if that's there. I like them in that gimmick. Was it a crutch? I wouldn't say that. I think it got them on television, got them time to work, and as we always say, Kimber is fucking phenomenal. When they use her, unleash her, we'll see. Uh, she can go. And Brandy obviously brings her own things to the table. I hope they stick around. If it's a tag team, for the better, obviously. But as far as if we're gonna go into, the prediction of what's gonna happen with the kayfabe baby and all that stuff. Obviously, she ate the souls. I imagine we get back to a point where they do get released from the undead. I don't know. But there's two things I've been saying with this since day one. One, I think Sue's pregnant, and two, Bray Wyatt's going to be the father. Now, am I a real psychic? No. Do I have pregnancy radar? Maybe. Um, I saw Jeebus in there saying. But it would just make a lot of damn sense if Sue is pregnant. And now, obviously, there are a lot of different people out there, but I've been saying this too. She's been putting tweets out there of "I loved you," all these other cryptic things. So there's obviously someone in mind that they have to be, and they're not going to use Rich. Come on, it's Impact. It's a television show. I won't
Yeah.
be
This baby isn't actually going to appear on
right.
TV.
Yeah, it's not.
So who the father is in the storyline doesn't have, like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't have to match up
Right.
with who the actual father is.
Like
So
what was it? Bobby Lashley's wife Crystal had Scott Steiner's baby. I think Mae Young had a hand.
had a hand.
So it
Yeah,
can't be
like,
worse than that. And I doubt Rockstar Spud will be pinned by whoever um, they give birth to, as he took a pin for Maxwell Hardy. So is that his name Maxwell? No, that's not his name. King Maximus, right? Yeah.
I think it's Max something
All
or other.
right. Yeah, and either Wyndham is talked about here. Vincent from ROH could be revealed as the father. Not Vincent Meat Sauce, unfortunately, but the other Vincent. So yeah, there's a lot of options here. All I know is much love to everyone involved. Of course, we're happy to be right. We're happy that they're blessed to have a healthy child. I hope everything goes swimmingly. Love the individuals, love the wrestlers, love the personalities. This is just a positive. What comes of it, comes of it. But I don't think they put it on TV if she's going to sit home for another, let's see, I think she was pregnant Slammiversary, so for another, 4 months at least, and then leave?
Yeah, I mean, her belly was definitely big. You saw that, but I don't think it was. She looked like she was ready to pop. So maybe 3-4 months.
3-4 months. Yeah. She's a smaller, girl, obviously, but yeah, I won't judge that, but I will say.
And here's the thing, because she's doing the backstage stuff, she can continue to
Oh.
run this storyline. It's not like she has to go in the ring and take power bombs from like one of the Dudleys. So
she never has to wrestle again. That character is over.
Well, no, but I'm saying,
agree
like,
with you. I'm agreeing with you.
Yeah, so that, and the interesting thing I will say about Kimber and Brandy, if they do turn them back away from the undead brides to just normal people, one of the storylines they could build in is their transition from the undead brides back to normal people, and how are they dealing with that? That would give them like a connection to obviously together.
Right.
And then maybe that works. We'll see.
Obviously, time will tell. As long as they have jobs with Impact, I'm happy. And once again, congratulations to Sue. Awesome that we've been talking about it. Now let's just hope that 50% of the prediction happens here. All right, let's get into number 3. Let's go into Impact Catch-Up. Max, I'll start with you. Obviously, you have the Impact Wrestling Awards for 2021 up. Let's talk about those a little bit. Talk about, what we think about them and where that leads us into 2022.
All right. So Wrestler of the Year was Josh Alexander. Do you want me to run through them and then we'll talk about them? Okay. Knockout of the Year, Deonna Purrazzo. Men's Match of the Year, Josh Alexander versus TJP, the Iron Man match. Knockouts Match of the Year, Deonna Purrazzo versus Mickie James at Bound for Glory. Men's Tag Team of the Year, the Good Brothers. Knockouts Tag Team of the Year, Jordan Grace and Rachel Ellering.
So I think they're awards, just like our nonsensies. Obviously, these mean a little bit more. They go in actually history book, and they can look back at them.
So do ours.
Oh, yeah, true. All 2 years of it. But it's what you expect. Usually, you kind of look for something. I think last year they had a breakaway star of 2022 or something of that. So it's not really as telling as I thought it would be. Obviously, there's still because obviously fans voted, but I mean, Impact has final say. It's not American Idol, for fuck's sake. So how do you feel about those? How do you feel about if that's your core group? And that's what obviously TJP's not even in the damn company anymore. Mickie is a part-timer, maybe. Good Brothers are running up. Jordan and Rachel are the tag team there. So where are your...
So that one I thought was a little bit weird. I thought you could have gone with...
Kiera.
I mean, yeah, I was going to say Fire and Flavor would probably have been my pick if I'm looking at the whole year. Right. Good Brothers for Men's Tag Team of the Year. I mean, I feel like they've held the title all for pretty much a majority of the year, so it makes sense there. Josh Alexander, I'm okay with because he did so well as the X Division champion. I think you could have maybe made a case for Moose at the end there. Obviously, I mean, you could say Kenny Omega, but they weren't going to give Kenny Omega a Wrestler of the Year award from AEW, so
Okay.
kick that out. I mean, they just weren't.
No.
Deanna makes complete sense for the Knockout of the Year. Like, she held that title for so long. The matches, though, I mean, for men's match, I mean, that's hard to argue that's not match of the year. Like, that was amazing.
I agree. I think the going against it had two things. Obviously, TJP is or is not with us. It seems like not. And also there was no crowd there. If that match was in front of a crowd, I mean,
Yeah.
so
I mean,
I'm happy, but it's interesting that
Josh Alexander versus Christian might have been the other one.
Hmm.
I'm kind of partial to Kenny Omega versus Sammy just because we saw it live.
Sure.
And anything you see live, like I remember our Bound for Glory being amazing. And then we watched Bound for Glory and it was horrible.
I never thought our Bound for Glory was amazing.
When we were there, I thought
2011 was the just like shits. Was it 11 or 12?
Anyways, I mean,
12.
I
It might have
think,
been 12. 12.
I don't know, whatever
it was.
it was butt cheeks. But yeah, I mean, I agree with most of them. Gianna Perrazzo, Mickey James was a really good match too.
Mm.
So, I mean, I don't have too many things that I feel like don't belong there, except for maybe Jordan Grace and Rachel Halloran.
Okay, so obviously there's nothing deeper to that. I imagine, they're not going to give an award to Kiera, which is odd. I mean, TJP gets one. Mickey, I don't know. So with that being said, though, let's reword the question. You see that roster, as I said, or you see what who our award winners are. Obviously, that's a good cast. We predict and hope they all are here for 2022. What is glaring out at you that maybe we need a little bit more? Is it star power? Is it name value? What is it?
I don't know, because I'm looking at Impact's roster. I think the problem is so much of Impact, no matter who we have, is going to be downplayed. Kenny Omega could come over to Impact and permanently sign here, and people would talk about that he's over the hill. Like that's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
So, like, you look at the people. I'm just going to quickly run through their roster, and I'll list who I think this in 2022 could be stars: Ace Austin, Chris Bay. I'm trying to scroll through. Eddie Edwards is still a star. Like, he's older, but he still carries that star power. Let's see. Depending on what Jonah does, but I'll leave him out of the picture because we don't know if he's signed. Josh Alexander is there. Moose is there. I think Matt Cardona could take the next step.
I think so too. Him and Chelsea just got married, so let's say congratulations to them.
Congratulations to them.
I think them two together would be a wonderful team.
So if you just look, and then I'll say W. Morrissey. If you look at just that, that's 8 people that I think right now could be champion and be stars without any issues.
Yeah.
Like, that's a good main event. That doesn't even include people like Trey Miguel, who's in the X Division, Steve Macklin, Sami Callihan, who we don't know when he's coming back. Like Rich Swann and Rohit Raju, although older, are good mid cards.
Yeah. Well, and that's the point I wanted to mention as well. Sammy's, obviously we took a dip when AEW came around. They took a good chunk of a roster. We didn't have the means to keep them. We have the means to keep people now, so I'm not really worried about that as much. But the people you're naming, I think, are great. I love them in our main event scene. I think Moose and Josh are getting across the world recognition compared to just Impact fan recognition. They broke through, but who's going to be that next person? Matt could be it. We'll see this Saturday, excuse me. Hard to Kill. What kind of performance he gives. I just think he does better as a heel. But we'll see. We'll see.
I think the one thing we're missing is tag teams.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Like, that is the weakness of this roster right now. Both men's and women's is a good deep tag team division.
Yeah, it's just hard nowadays when to certain people, tag teams don't matter or don't draw money. so that love isn't instilled. Everyone wants to be a single star. Um, I- so the problem is that we're not slowly building tag teams. We're not we're not creating them at all. Is what I want to say. Um, we have a few tag teams that are known from other companies, and then we sprinkle in VBD and stuff, but it's more of gimmick tag teams, not really go tag teams. Rich and Willie,
Yeah.
tag teams are a must. I agree with you there. I don't want to go too far on that because I wanted to stop at 8:30 so we could talk about Swole and Con. But yeah, I think so too. I think looking at that and what impact I'm looking forward to is the development and growth of that division, though both of those divisions. But I think the knockouts division, tag team division, is right now leaps and bounds ahead.
I agree. I think the women's tag division is definitely growing, but it's definitely better than the men's right now.
Correct. I agree. It's a good way to put it. All right, so here's the juicy one we're all going to talk about. This is the one, which is a two-parter. Obviously, we've praised AEW in here throughout the years. We've shit on them throughout the years. As we always say, we are honest, unbiased, and transparent. So what we're about to say has nothing to do of bias or AEW Max watches weekly. We bond with everyone. I say the same thing that I'm about to say in life in general. Okay, this is a cancel-free space. We're gonna have a communication, have a conversation, and communicate our thoughts on this subject. If we make a mistake, we correct each other without anger, and we hold no anger. That's how things get better. That's how things move forward. So we're going to do that. And we're going to be honest and say our opinions there. And who doesn't like two white guys talking about race?
Exactly.
Because we're experts. But yeah, no. So obviously the story is this. I'll keep it minimal. I'll let you fill in. I'm sure you have a lot to talk about. Big Swole, her contract expired. Could have ended like that. No other talk. She said what she said in an interview. I'll get to my opinion later. Personally, don't think it was that critical. I'll let you speak to that. Tony Khan replied. We haven't got a reply from either of them since then. AEW wrestlers and wrestlers around including Su Yung, have spoke out a little bit. What's your take, Max? Where are we at with this?
So what I'm about to say, I'm going to give this information for free, but I really should call up Tony and sell it to him because clearly he doesn't understand this concept, but I'm just going to give it out to all the listeners for free. If you run a business and one of the people that used to work with you says that they feel as though your business isn't as diverse as it could be, the correct way to respond isn't list your minority people that work for you and then tell everybody the reason why that person no longer works for you is because they suck. That's just not the correct way to go handle things. Like, Tony, like you're a businessman. This isn't like this isn't Kenny Omega or the Young Bucks screaming out as like top people. This is the guy who owns AEW. And this is the second or third time, at least that I can remember, where he has just said some dumbass shit that makes me feel like he wants to be Vince McMahon. Like, to the point, like, and not to the point of
character,
like,
or real life.
No, to the point where like Vince McMahon has had that persona of I am so powerful, I can do or say what I want and it does not matter because WWE is a machine. And Tony Khan has started to act like AEW is such a machine that he can do whatever he wants. I agree with you in the fact that the things she said really weren't that bad. The first thing she mentioned was that basically that if you aren't someone who goes out there and creates your own character, creates your own promos, is really like fast on the mic, you kind of get left behind in AEW.
Yeah.
Personally, I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. If AEW is trying to push that, like, hey, this is the type of product we want. We want wrestlers who are fast on their on their feet when it comes to thinking, who are good promos by themselves, who can do it. Cool, that's just what you want. That's fine. There's other companies who will write your promos for you, and you can still be a big star there. The second one with diversity, whether you agree or disagree, I agree with you. This wasn't her like slinging shit at
Nope.
AEW. This was just a general criticism where she was like, "Hey, I think we could be better, or they could have been better in this
Mm,
way." And the problem is, so many people really quickly on Twitter, like, people can't handle criticism. But in most cases, when they say someone can't handle criticism, what they've actually done is shit talked that
fair.
person and got upset that that person responded. In this case, it was legitimate, well thought out criticism, and Tony Khan just couldn't handle it.
Can't.
My third part is, or I guess the next part is the fact that he's like, the reason why she's not here is because she just wasn't good enough, or some effect of that. To me, if I was a wrestler currently either in AEW or thinking about signing with AEW, I have to think now, if I decide to leave there and give my opinion about the company, and my opinion is anything other than rainbows and sunshine, is the owner of the company going to come out and say, yeah, well, they're not here because they suck? Like, can you imagine if after everybody that was released from WWE, they came out like, Vince, why'd you release these people? And Vince was like, because they all sucked. They just weren't good enough to be
Right.
here. Like, the wrestling world would have
Yeah.
collapsed. Like,
The bias is pretty apparent here.
yeah,
But do you have more? Or do you want me to jump in real quick?
well, no, and that, like, that's the thing for me is like, there's this to me. I think this is the type of thing. And Big Swole actually, I think in the thing she mentioned how bloated their roster
Mhm.
was as well. And we have talked about that that could be something that could keep people from going
Yeah.
there, because when you see a massive roster, you have to wonder, how much time am I going to get if I go there? But this type of response from Tony Khan is legitimately the type of thing that could stop people from going there, because
Yeah.
if you don't like, because like, you don't like your boss, it could like, and if you're already, it's a bloated roster, and now you're like,
Mhm.
well,
No,
so
I agree with you.
that's my thoughts on that, and then I'll let you respond, and then we'll get to
Well,
Big Swole coming to
yeah,
Impact.
because we got different layers of this to talk about. So,
Yeah,
yeah. Well, first I want to say if Vince would have said that, yes, it would have been scorched earth. The thing is Vince would never say this. And it's
correct.
not a look. You can say it's a family atmosphere. We don't know. We're not back there in regards to AEW. You could say that about Impact. We preach that. We don't know. We're not back there. WWE, we know it's ran corporately. Okay. And if you're running it in a corporate way, you get what you get on the day-to-day work. And that's why wrestlers tend to leave. They get burnt out, they don't want to be there, whatever it may be. But you're always going to get a paycheck. You're always going to get professionalism. Maybe not behind the scenes, but but in the day-to-day, how they handle things, they're not going to make a mistake to where they can get repercussions to it, because they are going to sell. They're eventually going to sell, and even if they don't need that skid mark on their track record. All
Correct.
right. So they don't need another, what were those things on A&E? Not A, was it A&E? Or no, Vice, excuse me. The Dark Side of the Ring. We don't need
Yeah.
a Dark Side of the Ring WWE again. So one, is foolish for him to say that. Two, you know, I don't dislike Tony Khan whatsoever. I wouldn't fuck with him. I don't do coke, allegedly. Not me allegedly, but him allegedly. I don't
Him
hang out,
allegedly.
I don't do that kind of shit. I don't like the Jaguars. Um, and I'm not an AEW fan. So I had no reason to interact with him. But if I was thinking about it as a fan, this would kind of rub me the wrong way. It's not as family atmosphere inclusive that everyone's talking about. It's a little peel back the backstage, and then once you say something you don't like, just like the fans of AEW, a lot of them, let's be fair, they're not going to like you. They're going to treat you like shit. They're going to act like that and reach out because no one can communicate. Okay? And no one can take criticism. He showed his hand. Do I think that affects it when you have that kind of money, that kind of platform with TNT, and that kind of buzz and fans that will be with you till the day they die? No. I think you still go there. I think you still try. I think just like WWE, people say, "Oh, not me, not me." I will, you know what I mean? I'll be the one that breaks through NXT and then goes to. It's just people always bet on themselves, and they should. If you're in this line of business, you should have some kind of ego that says, hey, give me an opportunity and I'll crush it. And I think a lot of the people in AEW took it when it first started because it was everything we just mentioned, or I just mentioned. But what you see, and this is from day one, and I sounded like a hater in the beginning when they first started, but I'm going to repeat it now, and it feels so. That perfect imagery of the five best friends who started this, who dumped ROH in New Japan or started their own company. And once again, don't know the situation, but it started like that, burning a bridge. Is that fair to say?
No, I
Okay.
agree. I definitely think it definitely with ROH.
Okay. So they start with that. That puts up a red flag. They do that cover of whatever Digest or whatever, and it has Awesome Kong on it, and Brandy, and Sonny Kiss. Okay. They wheeled out their diversity. They have diversity. I want to say that. Okay. I did the math because that's what kind of crazy person I am. 31% of their roster, according to their roster page, whoever's on there, doesn't have Kiera on there, so the stats aren't going to be right. But 31% are
of their side. I don't think she's officially signed with them.
31% that are on that All Elite page, wrestling roster, are of some ethnicity, international, for somewhere else. There's some. Oh, I didn't count Miro and stuff. So if they don't recognize as white. Say that, okay? So is that bad? 31%? No, it's not that bad. You look at the numbers of wins to losses in the records, 1,025 to 737. So that's a 58 to 42 winning percentage. The problem is, he could have just named those stats and just said that, but he didn't. Those stats mean shit when you're winning fake matches once a month. And so my boss can write it on his Twitter account that we won a match a month. Okay? It's not about diversity. It's all about representation. And he has the diversity. He has the toy chest of everyone you could want or can get anyone wants. And yet when he started the company, there is no black champion. I don't trust the process. I don't think anyone should be handed anything. Race, sex, religion, anything. Everyone works for it. But if you are damn good and you are the best in your whatever it may be in your field, you get that fucking job.
You should be a champion. Yeah.
And you're telling me that he couldn't throw a bag at Moose? He couldn't throw a bag at Lashley? Any of those people that were on the free agent market when they started. He did not. That's a choice. You get people and you sign them so you have the diversity, but what do you do with that diversity? Now you could say, well, they didn't match up, and I'll transition that. First of all, I do want to mention that Impact Wrestling is a 38% people of color, so pretty dope. But anyways, this will go into the Swole thing. I can't lie and say that I think Big Swole is a good wrestler either. I've seen a handful of matches, so I can't say she is or isn't. But I think it's fair to say that he's not maybe that wrong if it was the wrestling thing. The thing is you don't have to mention it.
Yeah, you just don't, and that's the thing, you just don't mention it. I feel like with him, and I've seen a bunch of people on Twitter talk about, oh, well, this person of color had a match against John Moxley. Okay, it's not about just having a one-off match or a short program. Like, it's what are you doing with that? And people talk about, well, this person has wrestled on Explosion 17 times. I'm gonna let you know, when you're talking about WWE, and I'm like, I haven't seen this person on TV in 6 months. No one's like, excuse me, they've been on Main Event 15 times this year. Who gives a fuck about me? Like, it's Rampage and Dynamite are the only two shows that matter in terms of people being on TV. But I feel like the main issue with Tony Khan is when you look at Vince, and obviously Vince got his company from his father, but Vince built WWE through his hard work into this like he came up with WrestleMania, he got the TV contracts, he did all the expansion, like he basically built this empire. that was
You're
WWE.
taking into consideration that he stole the top talents from all of the. Okay,
Well, correct. No, yeah, all that stuff. I'm just talking about like he built WWE
right.
up. Like whether it signed the
The
people,
business.
came up with this idea. Yeah, came up with this idea of this is what I want WWE, and he did
Yeah.
all that. Tony Khan, and I might be wrong. I looked at his Wikipedia page to see where his money comes from, and the first thing I can see is his dad gave him a job working for the Jaguars.
Mhm.
So to me, it looks like his money comes from his father. Which hey, I'm gonna let you know. My dad was a billionaire. I'd love that shit
Right.
too. Nothing wrong with that. But he basically took this money, talked to Kenny Omega, um, the Young Bucks, and Cody, and we're like, let's make a program. I can throw all my money at it. And I feel like because he didn't take this company from a small little company and build it up, he's got this chip on his shoulder and that's why he lashes out the way he does sometimes. That's why he
Yeah.
lashed out at about NWA. I lent them all this talent. I paid for their
Right.
people. That's why he's lashing out this way, because he has this chip on his shoulder, because you just had money and you just did this all at once. It wasn't a slow build or anything.
He didn't work for it.
Really,
All right.
yeah. So I feel like that's it. In terms of Big Swole coming, I, I will say I've seen some of her matches. Unfortunately, nothing sticks out at me. A lot of that, though, very well may be because most AEW women's matches don't stick out to me outside of Britt Baker versus
Thunder Rosa.
Ty Conti at the pay-per-view. I thought was
Sure.
really good. Britt Baker versus Thunder Rosa was amazing. And then maybe an occasional match here or there. I know Serena Deeb had a match with.
We don't want to turn this into the AEW podcast,
but I'm just saying, like none of their matches stick out to me. So I don't know if is she not a good wrestler, or is it just that AEW only has one women's match a show, and because of that, I don't know.
Well,
so I'm not sure what level she is.
All right, so we have 13 minutes left, so I'm gonna say that I don't think she's I think she'll fit right in if she was with Savannah Evans and they were a big tag team. I think that would work really well, and if she is limited, it works. If she's not limited, it works even better, and it.
And apparently, she's married to Cedric Alexander, yes. And as we know, being married to someone means their spouse comes.
So she's going to WWE or something.
No, we'll get her an Impact and we'll bring Cedric over.
Yeah. Okay.
I love Cedric.
Well, look, at the end of the day, Tony Khan can say, and that was his rebuttal of people of color. And the reason I'm going to mention this is because there said Leo is the only one that said something. Starks deleted his Twitter. Maybe it's something different.
I just wish ACH would work there.
So Starks was off his goddamn Max, deleted his Twitter, and then Hobbs and Jade defended him and said, "My opportunity shows you that because you got two people of color, a great position. That means and great position. I mean, not a champion yet, ever." Winning records, not champions. So I mean, I think he thought he had set this up the best he could, where he couldn't get criticized, and then the fact that he's automatically assumes people are nitpicking, which, I don't know. Track record speaks for itself. Look at it there, and kind of figure that out. I will say this though, Swole did mention the process and the lack of structure. And she also mentioned that her and Kenny didn't get along too much when it came to the booking, or agreed on the booking. So Kenny Omega, you're champion of champions, Max. You're the guy you think is the best wrestler in the world who's booking the women's division. Is the main issue, it seems. So I won't get into all of that. I just had to get that dig in there.
He's the best bout machine. He's not the best booking machine.
Yeah, fair enough.
Fair
enough. I just hope that at the end of the day, people feel comfortable still speaking out and not feel like they're gonna miss out on an opportunity because one person rallied the troops. I mean, I think she's already getting shit. I think I saw in there that Leo was already backtracking. Look, at the end of the day, we don't live in that world. Obviously, we're two white folk, so we can only speak to it so much. On top of that, it's a different dynamic because Tony is Indian. So
Yes.
from his standpoint, maybe he doesn't see race. The problem with that is the rest of America is obsessed with it, and he isn't putting people who should be in places, in my opinion.
Last thing I'll say is she mentioned structure. If we're
Structure.
talking about places for her to come, Impact has done a really good job at finding like niches and spots to put people
Yeah.
in and developing them. So if we are looking at a spot where she could come, obviously we know WWE basically writes your promos. They're super structured.
Yeah.
But Impact is as well, and Impact is very good at finding people and then putting them in place and then giving them opportunities to shine. So I think there's a possibility
Well,
she comes here, but we'll
you
see.
also have to, and there's a different aspect to this. And I was thinking about the other day because you have someone like Moose, who obviously is the, I would say, best different professional athlete to make it in wrestling. I mean, there's some, obviously, Ernie Ladd, and there's back in the day. But in modern era, I mean, Kurt Angle's obviously another one who's transitioned. I'm trying to read the stuff in there. But
Yeah, I mean, he was an official NFL player, not tried out for an NFL team.
Right. Sorry, I was reading the thing and I forgot where I was going. Leo probably got told to backtrack. Yeah, it's possible. I don't really know. I just think there's a lot of things. What were we talking about? Football. Okay,
Moose,
thank you.
that he's the.
So my point of bringing in Moose is this: not everyone in wrestling grows up loving wrestling. It just is what it is. Some are athletes that fall to this or love athleticism or love drama and they want to be part of something different. And well, once your career's up in the professionals of other things, you have other places to find work and a canvas to perform your art. So I think there's a lot of people, like, for every ex-NFL person or, shitty gymnastic person that turned out to be crap that WWE has, tried to create, there's someone like a Big Swole who's athletic and strong and maybe didn't grow up loving wrestling. Maybe she did. I don't know the story. But there's a lot of people like that could use that extra hand to say, okay, so you have the look, you have the way to go about it, you know how to wrestle, you can talk. Here's character-wise what we can do or where we think you should be headed. Some people just aren't creative. It doesn't mean they're bad. It doesn't mean they suck at their job.
Yeah.
It means that on top of everything else they're responsible for, eating right, food, family, travel, wrestling promos, all these things, matches, on top of that, they have to come up with a character. So when you find someone who could do all of that, God bless you. But it's not a 5'2" athlete. It's not always there. So the fact that they can,
Some singers don't write their own songs.
most singers don't write their own.
Not everyone's Eminem who can get up there and just instantly throw down freestyle verses. Some people have great voices.
And some are
but
Jay-Z.
They sing other people. So, yeah.
Fucking clown shoes. All right. No, it's for life. All right, guys. We are gonna get into the year 2002, but with that, we need to take a small 2022.
We are going to turn back the clock 20 years,
man.
and we are going to make some predictions, and we're going to see if they come true.
Yeah, man. We'll be right back. Ooh. Oh, man.
You sure you didn't go back to 2002?
Psychic Geoff is back for an appearance here at the end of, oh man, at the end of it. This is to pop our friends.
Sure you don't do coke?
Fuck no, man. I don't know. I'd be living on the street, brother. No money. All right. So what is this? Is this the coke person look?
I don't know.
Crooked
man.
glasses. I don't even drink anymore, guys.
Glasses are kind of
That's the treehouse look. All right, guys. If you're a friend or family or watch the show on the regular, you know that once in a blue moon, I break out a psychic-y thing where we look into the year 2022. Big time into the future, which we're already there. But that's the funny part of it. I'm going to tell you 5 stupid predictions that I have. You laugh, you don't, you turn the channel. Hey, it's worth a chance, right? It's worth a try. Just supposed to be fun. All right, guys. All right, so we'll take down the nonsense thing here. Apologize for the microphone. I'm actually holding it myself this week. Okay, let's take away that. All right. So my first prediction of 2022. Okay. Seeing 90 Day
90 Day
Fiance.
Fiance.
Okay, let's see here. The demo of 18 to 49 will no longer matter to wrestling fans when they realize that their wrestling company's demo gets the shit kicked out of it on a weekly basis by 90 Day Fiance. 1849, you know who's the number one in cable? 90 Day Fiance. Stop caring about the demo.
Huh.
Another prediction I have. Got a rich
old white dude holding money bags.
Yeah, that's my next prediction. Gotta remember what the fuck I'm supposed to say. Impact. Oh, it's coming to me. It's coming. Impact Senior Citizen Demo that everyone makes fun of will become the true barometer of success when people look in their bank accounts and see that boomers actually control all the money in the United States.
I mean, that's true. 18 to I know a lot of
18
to 30-year-olds that have no disposable income.
No.
My parents, my dad bought a boat a couple months ago just because. So.
And I grew up in a crack house. So there's that. All right, moving on. we all have different ways to get here. All right, let's see what I got next up here. Rock. All right. The Rock.
Is he coming to Impact?
He was already in Impact. No, he's not Test. He ain't The Rock. You don't want to hear big mouth talk. All right. The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, will announce his intent to run for president. He runs on a campaign of, why not? The country has already hit rock bottom. We'll be here all night.
He's already got the show about him being president, or
that is the other prediction.
Like
all my predictions come right. Sue is pregnant, and The Rock has been president. I've been saying it since episode 1. The Rock will be president one day. All right. Next, what is coming to me? What is coming to me here?
Jeff Hardy. We talked about him earlier.
We did. All right. All right. Jeff Hardy will debut in AEW in the year 2022. And will have what Dave Meltzer calls the best rematch of this, that, or any other century or sport when he faces off against Sting in a 46-second barn burner.
I mean, that's what, double the amount of time that his first Sting match lasted. That's
fair.
It's Vince McMahon. Is he buying something?
All right, last one. Vince McMahon it is. All right, Vince McMahon. Vince McMahon, in the year 2022, not 2002, will be met by the 3 ghosts of the 3 releases past. And he will see the errors of his ways. Shortly thereafter, a WWE documentary will come out entitled The Future Endeavored, How Vince Russo and WCW Cut Our Roster. Them are the predictions of 2022.
That's the best one.
Yeah, save it for last, right?
Yeah, that's good.
Rolling today for you. I thought I'd change the mood a little bit, especially if we're talking about the great subjects we talked about today, the divisive subjects we talked about today. All right, guys, we made it on time. It is 8:59. That took a lot out of me. Thank you guys for rocking with us. This literally is the highlight of my week. Weekly talking to Max, talking to you guys, bringing that family thing. Holidays were fun, but this holds a special place. So thank you guys for helping us grow. Thank you for watching us for the first or last or anywhere in between time. One friend at a time, one fan at a time. Hit that subscribe button, hit that like, and make sure you go watch Talking Bloody Nonsense, which will return this week for its first episode in January in the new year. Mr. Impact Craig, the lovely Mr. Impact Craig, as Max likes me calling him. And the wonderful, if you guys haven't seen it, we've been releasing the nonsensies on Twitter. Go watch Nixon's. It was on this last week too. We put a little spackle on it, but it's his Christmas or holiday announcement for the nonsensy of backstage segment. And it's a joy. It's already hit, I think, 1,000 views. So go check
Wow.
check that out on our Twitter timeline at TNAIW channel. And if you guys want to rejoin or join the rankings committee, hit us up at the same Twitter handle, and we'll add you to it. It's free, it's fun, and it's camaraderie, right? So we do this for. Let me get Vince out of here. Let's put the next president of the United States. All right, guys. Thank you for tuning in. Until next time.
Later, guys.